Do men really fall in love after sex? It's often said that men fall in love after sex, but is there any truth to it? And why do some people find it so hard to separate love and intimacy? So, how does a man actually fall in love? This might sound a little naive, but as a woman, my hormones go into overdrive after the first or second time with a new guy. I can't eat, I barely sleep, and all I can think about is what we talked about, the night itself. I just walk around with a permanent smile on my face. Basically, I've got butterflies in my stomach and feel like I'm on cloud 9. And for my friends, it's sometimes even more intense. They can't think about anything else. They call everyone they know and overanalyze every little detail. Am I in love? I don't know, but I'm definitely on an emotional high. But is it the same for men? Do they fall in love right after sleeping with someone? I always get the feeling that no matter what happens, men just carry on as usual. They hit the gym, focus on their careers, hang out with their friends, and they don't really talk about it or obsess over it every second. This over-analyzing, this state of emotional emergency, it doesn't seem to affect men in the same way. Why is that? It's simple, really, because the idea that men fall in love after sex is a complete myth. And before we focus on men, let me make 2 things crystal clear. 1, women don't automatically fall in love after sex either. And 2, yes, love and sex can be separated. You see, having sex releases a hormone called oxytocin, and that, ladies, is what gives you the feeling of being in love. But it's temporary. Once that hormonal rush subsides, the in love feeling often fades with it. And it's the exact same for men. The idea that men fall in love after sex is a misconception we keep alive. Many women think that if they can just get the guy they like into bed, he'll instantly become crazy about them. They believe their amazing skills in the bedroom, plus that rush of happy hormones, will send him over the moon. And sure, that might be true for a little while, but that's it. If your friends told you they caught their partners, because men fall in love after sex, they're not telling you the whole story. As we're about to see, a man only falls in love after sex if he already had feelings for the woman to begin with. Here's how it really works. If the sex is great, the man will feel relieved, happy, and free of stress. If the sex is bad, he'll feel frustrated and like he wasted his time. Neither of those has anything to do with love, right? Many people believe men fall in love after sex because they confuse love with sex. Now, I can already hear the comments. You can't make love without being in love. Yes, you can, absolutely. I understand that many people prefer to wait until they're in love before being intimate. But even with that choice, you can see that sex doesn't lead to love. Love leads to sex, right? I can guarantee you it is entirely possible to separate love and sex. You can have one-night stands with no strings attached and no promises. Sex itself doesn't require emotion. It involves a lot of hormones that can throw your emotions into chaos. And it's the interpretation of those hormones that leads many women to believe men fall in love after sex, and to believe that they themselves are in love. In reality, it's just chemistry. So why do people say this? For the same reason they say women automatically fall for any man they're intimate with. To understand, let's look at 2 different examples. Scenario 1, you meet a stranger, spend the night together, and have sex. Does the man fall in love? In this case, you have no real connection, no shared history, no mutual friends. After it's over, you both go back to your own lives. Here, it's easy to see that the idea of him falling in love is pretty ridiculous, but it's the second scenario where things get complicated. Scenario 2, you get intimate with someone you already know. This could be a friend, a co-worker, or even an ex. You know each other pretty well. There are things you like about each other, and your lives are already intertwined. So, when you decide to become friends with benefits, things get blurry. You keep seeing each other in your friend group or at work. You continue to rely on each other for physical release. Eventually, you might even stop looking for another partner because you have everything you need: friends, a job, and someone to take care of your physical needs without any complications. It's this repetition, this constant presence in each other's lives, that creates the illusion that men and women are falling in love after sex. In reality, it's often a choice of convenience, a routine that starts to blur your judgment. No, sex does not lead to love if the feelings weren't there to begin with. So, why is it so hard to separate the two? Let's be honest. Sex can make you do some really stupid things. Even if someone has more red flags than a parade, great sex can trick your brain. Because of that, you start thinking the person in your bed is the one you're meant to be with. After sex, emotional bonding can easily override logic. You get swept away by these feelings even though they're just temporary. And it all comes down to chemistry. First, the cuddle hormone, oxytocin, is incredibly powerful. It's released during intimacy and physical touch. Oxytocin fosters an emotional bond and creates a sense of trust, even if the person has done nothing to earn it. In other words, your mind is playing tricks on you. Second, your whole brain isn't online during sex. If you've ever felt like an orgasm was an out-of-body experience, you're not totally wrong. A part of your brain called the lateral orbitofrontal cortex, which is responsible for reason and self-control, actually shuts down during orgasm. That explains a lot, doesn't it? And third, love is addictive. You know that friend who jumps from one relationship to the next, or keeps going back to a terrible ex? Have some sympathy because they might be suffering from an oxytocin addiction. The struggle is real. Oxytocin activates the reward center in the brain, creating a euphoric mood. In fact, it targets the same regions as heroin and can create a genuine chemical dependency on love, or at least the feeling of it. So now you know why it's so hard to separate love and sex. So, how does a man actually fall in love? Before a man truly falls in love with a woman, he typically goes through 7 stages. During this process, he learns to tell the difference between attraction and emotion, between lust and love. So even if you think he's falling for you after sleeping together, that's probably not the case. His attraction might grow, but it isn't love yet. Here are the 7 stages. Stage 1, appreciation. This is the stage that causes all the confusion. Men often start with physical appearance, her figure, her smile, the way she moves. He might not even understand what it is, but if he sees something he likes, the first step is taken. Stage 2, infatuation. If the woman shows interest back, stage 2 begins, infatuation. During this time, the man will do whatever he can to be near her. He's trying to get her attention and be physically close to her. This goes beyond just sex. It's about building emotional intimacy. Stage 3, attraction. During the infatuation stage, a man will quickly figure out if he has a real chance. If not, he can still walk away without being emotionally invested. But if she is interested, things start to get serious. Now he enters the attraction phase, where he'll do everything he can to win her over. He'll be a true gentleman. Stage 4, pursuit. Even at stage 4, it's still not love. At this point, his goal is simply to impress her and win her over. He'll put in the effort, planning dates, buying small gifts, and presenting himself as a great potential partner. This is why it might seem like he only wants one thing, But if his interest is genuine, his intentions are good. Stage 5. Impression. By stage 5, the man has invested a lot of time and effort, but it's still not love. What he needs now is a clear sign from her that she's falling for him. This is often the stage where the two become intimate, which leads many women to believe that men fall in love after sex. In reality, the act itself is just a confirmation of the feelings he already had. Stage 6. Re-evaluation. Once he's sure that she has fallen for him, he can finally take a breath and enjoy his success. And it's only at this point that he starts to seriously ask himself if this is what he really wants. This phase can sometimes end sadly. If he decides that a relationship isn't for him, the woman who has already developed strong feelings can be left heartbroken. This is often when men get labelled as jerks. They do everything to make a woman fall for them, and then they get scared and pull away. Stage 7. Love. Finally, it's been a long road. If a man believes he can build a future with this woman, the final phase begins. Now, love truly enters the picture for him, with all that it entails. For him, there's nothing more important than being with his new partner. He'll do anything to make her feel safe and happy. At this stage, if they have sex, it's not what makes him fall in love. It's an expression of the love he already feels. Conclusion, I'll make this short and simple. The idea that men fall in love after sex is a stereotype. It is absolutely not true. Sex can be one of the 7 stages a man goes through on his journey to falling in love. But that's all it is, a step along the way. Men only fall in love after sex if they were already falling in love before. It happened. If a man didn't have feelings for you before, sex will just be sex. Not a promise of love and not a promise of a future together.